Welcome back to Mets'd, presented by Fox One. We know a big reason why the Mets missed the postseason this year was because of their pitching. It simply wasn't good enough. We didn't have a stopper. We didn't have an ace. We lacked the pitching talent to make it to the postseason. So right now, if you've been anywhere in the Mets baseball world, especially with the postseason going on, ace talk is loud, it's proud, it's prevalent, and everyone is saying that the Mets need an ace. So we're going to talk about whether or not the Mets do need an ace, although I think we know we would love to have one. Is there actually an ace available this offseason, whether it be through the free agent market, the trade market, anywhere? Is there actually an ace available? What should the Mets do? We're going to talk a lot about pitching this offseason, but we figured right now, because of the postseason, because everyone's talking about it, it'd be a good chance for us to throw our hat in the ring and tell you what we think. So, guys, if you are liking what you see over here, make sure you are subscribed to the Mets'd Podcast YouTube channel. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. James, where do you want to start with this ace conversation?
I think we should just start with the pitchers that are actually available, the ones that we know will be available on the free agent market. And then after that, we can talk through those guys and then get into some players we think will be available via trade. Because to go run through the free agent pitchers this offseason, it is light. It's even lighter than years past. There isn't really a frontline guy that's out there. And then since there's no frontline guy out there, the guys that are more middle of rotation guys are going to be treated like frontline guys. It could be a market that winds up just devouring itself and kind of pricing out any prudent front office. But then also we'll have the conversation of whether the Mets should actually continue to be prudent, because this is the one thing that is holding this team back. But I think when you have to look at the free agent pitchers, the two guys that jump out right off the bat are Framber Valdez and Dylan Cease. I think those are considered the best two guys out there with the least baggage attached to them, at least based on the fact that they don't have options. They will be free agents. They'll probably both get the qualifying offer, which will be a whole nother can of worms we're going to have to go through. But with Framber, you get tons of consistency. There's 200 innings a year. He's been one of the better pitchers in baseball for the last 5 years. But then you also get some weird stuff with him where he throws balls at his teammates and kind of sometimes doesn't act like the best teammate on the mound. It's a strange package with Framber, but it is still a very consistent performer.
Yeah, I think if there is an ace available on the free agent market, it's him undoubtedly. He's been the number one guy in Houston for a minute now. He throws a ton of innings. He throws hard. He gets the ground balls. He gets the strikeouts. Everything you'd want on paper makes a ton of sense with Framber, but the off-the-field stuff, especially for a guy who needed to get a sports psychologist to even get to the point where he was, not saying don't get your mental health right. I think that's very important, but in New York City, it just feels like maybe the combination of Framber Valdez plus New York City plus the chaos that we saw from him at the end of the season, probably not the best fit here in a city that can sometimes be seen as toxic, probably.
Maybe. Also, if the money's right, I don't care as much about that because I do trust this Mets clubhouse. But I do think that if you have to give Framber, which I'm sure you will, 7 years for $240 million.
Max Fried-like contract.
Yeah, so now suddenly I'm not as interested in something like that because I just don't see Framber as being, I don't know. Do you see Framber as a stopper? Do you see Framber as a guy you can give the ball to in Game 7 and be like, we got this?
There's probably only like 15 or 20 pitchers you do feel comfortable even saying that with. He's right on the fringe. You got to catch me during the season, but maybe that's why he's not one of those guys, is because it is very much what have you done for me lately, not what do I think you can do for me in the future.
And that kind of is the crux of this conversation because, again, like we're watching aces in the playoffs right now. Like we're watching guys, especially that first day of the wild card series. We're watching dudes take the ball, go 6, 7, 8 innings in some cases, and just look dominant doing it. So that's when all of these conversations get going. Like you need an ace, Look how you win the playoffs. You need an ace. But then you kind of parse it out and realize, okay, Max Fried had that great wild card start, then he shit the bed in the Blue Jay start. I see Fried and Framber on more of a similar tier than Framber and Skubal and Crochet. But that's also where I think the ace word gets lost, because it's not that every team has an ace, every team wants an ace, but they're probably, like you said, 10, 11 in the entire league. And those guys just simply will not and have not, well, not this offseason shake available. It did last offseason, but that's a different story.
Yeah, like even below those guys, like you mentioned Framber, Dylan Cease is the one I think who has the closest to ace stuff that will be available. The problem with Dylan Cease is that he's coming off of one of the worst pitching seasons that we've seen in a while. He was horrible this year, especially in terms of ERA. And as much as we're not an ERA cut and dry podcast, over 180 innings when you still have an ERA like Dylan Cease did, doesn't really make you feel great, especially when you play out in San Diego, which is a super pitcher-friendly park.
And then you even go back 2 years ago, 2023. He did the exact same thing. We're looking at Dylan Cease now. It's reductive to take only a 3-year sample because the year before that bad season was a good season. So maybe if we're going by this stupid pattern, next year will be a good season too. But 2 out of his last 3 years, he was one of the worst qualified pitchers in baseball. And he's someone whose market's going to be really variable, because that might be a beauty in the eye of the beholder situation where some team does give him like a 6-year deal for $25 million a year because they've seen the potential. Or maybe every single team holds tight and saying, we're only giving Dylan Cease 2 years for $50 million. See if he can actually prove it. He's still under 30. He is another one of these guys who is a workhorse, but Dylan Cease consistently runs into issues because he's a 2-pitch pitcher that has bad command. We've seen it firsthand as Mets fans a few times. He's walked into Citi Field and we've beaten the crap out of him because if he can't command one of those 2 pitches, you know the other one's going to come. And he's tried a lot in his career to work on other pitches, bring them in. There's a knuckle curve he's used like different points in his career. He tried to do a changeup at the beginning of this season that was pure chaos, that had no chance of ever being near the plate. He scrapped it after like 3 or 4 starts, but it's just he's the one that to me profiles most similarly to the kind of player I think the Mets will go after. High variance, probably high AAV, low years. Like that to me, if you're going to be taking a shot in the dark, and we're going to keep talking to you guys about the pitchers available, he's the one who seems the most appealing.
This show is brought to you by Fox One. Fox One is now live. Stream all your Fox favorites together in one place, including all AL playoff games and the World Series.
I can't wait to watch the Mariners versus the Tigers Game 5 on Friday. Tarek Schoolball. It's going to be a doozy.
You think the Mariners are gonna be able to pull that one out? I don't know. It's been a tight series over there.
Beating Schoolball twice in one series is kind of crazy. And also now I feel like the Mariners might regret not pitching Logan Gilbert game 1, so we can't pitch this game.
Yeah, it feels a little messed up for sure. You've got that. And then further, you're going to have the Yankees. Oh, wait, never mind. They're out of the playoffs. The Blue Jays are in. The Blue Jays beat them.
And then once we do get another winner in that ALDS series, they'll face the Blue Jays. That's going to be another great series. Whoever wins that probably winds up facing the Dodgers in the World Series, also on Fox. I got my Buckeyes on Fox every single week. Best place to watch sports.
Yeah, I mean, Vlad Jr. has been unbelievable. I'd imagine he's going to stay just as hot. That Blue Jays team's kind of riding a crazy vibe right now. But again, you can watch that all on the Fox One app. From MLB postseason to NFL on Fox to Big Noon Saturdays with Fox One, you'll get it all live. Start your 7-day free trial today. Offers are subject to change. Go to fox1.com for complete terms and conditions. Fox One, streaming now. I think there's also something to note, too, that shout out J.J. Cooper of Baseball America, part of the Foul Territory Network as well. He put out an incredible just baseball thread yesterday. Yeah. Good ball talk. I hope, it didn't nearly get the recognition it should have. It got 17,000 views, 33 likes. This was a sick thread, and the reason...
Did you retweet it, Mr. Hunter K?
I didn't retweet it, honestly. I just liked it. Listen, hey, I can't do all the heavy lifting. It works for a publication. They can pay me for that. But... what he was basically talking about is how, and things that we've said on this podcast before, velo is king. Velo always is king. It always will be king. It's the most important thing you can do as a pitcher, undoubtedly. It's unbiased. And he broke it down by average velo on pitches and then gave you the batting average, on-base percentage, slugging, and whiff rate on just speed alone. It has nothing to do with location. These pitches don't have to be strikes. They don't have to have any movement. This is just the most blanket statement ever on velo. And what do you know? The harder you throw, the much harder it is to hit. Guys who throw 100, 141 average, a whiff rate of 28%, 98, 96, 94. Like, it gets better and better for the hitters as you go lower and lower, especially when you get into the mid to low 90s. You start looking at fastballs that get hit around 270, 300%, or 30% of the time. So for a lot of these guys, while they may have had ace-like seasons at some point, when we look at the free agent market, there's almost no guys that have this elite level velocity to which you don't want to then pay because it's just not going to last. And he even proved a little bit later, he's like, yes, Dallas Keuchel won a Cy Young. Kyle Hendricks had great seasons, but those guys were done by the age of 32. A big reason why. They had no velo. Velo is the thing that outlasts and makes pitchers great. There's very, very, very few pitchers ever that didn't have the velo of recent time that have been great. Like Clayton Kershaw is the last one who pitched into his like mid to late 30s, but Clayton Kershaw is also one of the greatest pitchers to ever step on a mound.
Clayton Kershaw also, you would argue that he did have a much faster declines, health related, but then a lot of these other guys like Verlander is still an acceptable pitcher into his early 40s.
Yeah, he's not good, but
yeah, same with Scherzer. They're
Jacob deGrom is throwing still really, really well because he throws 98.
And Kershaw is Kershaw's more the same as DeGrom's age than the Verlander and Scherzer, but he gets bunched in with those guys because he did come up sooner. And same thing with Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke was such a master of the art, but he did struggle to be as consistent later when he did lose the little bit of velo he had. And that's where it brings me to actually the next guy on this list, the guy that's gotten a lot of pub kind of all over the world because we're recording this Wednesday afternoon, but we don't know what's going to happen with him tonight. is Ranger Suarez on the Phillies. Ranger Suarez is becoming the sexy starting pitcher free agent because, like we've said, this top tier leaves a lot to be desired. We just had the top two guys, and they're like, I don't know. Yeah, and we don't. As up to my knowledge right now, I know we do have some interesting pitchers coming over from Japan, not totally confirmed, but no one on the level of Yamamoto or Sasaki either. So now you look at Ranger Suarez being like, all right, Ranger Suarez has now had back-to-back seasons where he's been an incredible starting pitcher in the middle of the Phillies rotation. He's striking guys out. He's not walking anybody. He has this incredibly beautiful arsenal where he mixes 5, almost 6 pitches sometimes. He brings that slider in, and it's like, wow, this guy's unstoppable. But then you look at Ranger Suarez, and he barely throws 90, but he gets by with movement and just his great command to be able to mix both sides of the plate. And again, lots of different pitches for the righties. But do you give Ranger Suarez 5 years, $120 million? Because that's probably what it will cost. Do you want 35-year-old Ranger Suarez on the team?
Yeah, but at a cheaper price. Like Ranger Suarez feels, call me crazy, and it's because he does have all the different pitches. That's something that can help when you don't throw hard, is having all those different pitches, because if the changeup's not on, you can throw the curveball, you can throw the slider, you can throw the cutter, you can throw whatever. Like, Ranger is a little bit of a unicorn in that we don't see that too often. But yeah, the velo does scare me. I think he's going to have a long major league career. I don't know if I want to pay him $25 to $30 million a year when he's 35, because he kind of profiles more like a Jose Quintana at that age than he does the Ranger Suarez he is right now. But at the same time, I would love Ranger on this team. Is that fair to say?
No, it is fair to say. But this is the conversation. Yeah. This is the ace distinction we're talking about.
Like, ultimately, at the end of the day, because we're going to go through these free agent guys a little bit more, the guys on the pitching market on the trade side are way more enticing to me than the guys that are available on free agent market.
Oh, definitely. It's like, we've advocated for years on this podcast that the Mets should go and trade for Pablo Lopez. I think he's someone that is. But does he fit our velo conversation? He's right there. I'm gonna
take a look. But again, this is us. We're like, I don't know if there is an ace. It's also it's very hard to get aces. Like, Garrett Crochet was the shot last year, but the Mets didn't have the prospects at the time that the Red Sox have. They have them now. Doesn't do us any good. Nope. They didn't have them going into the offseason last year. Pablo Lopez throws 94.5. So
average.
He's exactly average. He has his fastball grades well right now, but he's 29. Is it going to grade well at 32, 33? Probably not.
But he's someone that has a good team-friendly contract that, again, will cost more in a trade. The Crochet thing we're going to look back on as being one of the strangest, maybe most influential transactions we've seen in baseball in the last 5 years, because coming into that, he had under 150 career major league innings, but they were spectacular, specifically just last year. But he really had 2 great months, but it was so great that you believed he could do it. And a lot of credit to the White Sox for handling him kind of perfectly through the second half to make sure that he was going to be able to handle the full horse workload this season, keeping his routine totally in check, but only throwing 30 to 50 pitches every 5th day. I think a lot of teams could look to that. We take a lot of shots at the White Sox as like the baseball electorate.
Yes,
that was something they did really, really well, and they smashed that trade return. They got 2 starters who look like they're going to be on their team for a long time, plus a couple more upside shots. But then his teammate, Pablo Lopez, is Joe Ryan. That's the name I think I keep going back to as the person that is the closest to acedom that will be available this offseason. I still don't know.
Now, he does the weird thing, though, with his fastball, though, where his fastball's not hard, but it gets a weird amount of swing and misses.
Because he has that crazy little shape, because he hides the fastball all the time. When he was coming up with the Rays, they called that the invisible fastball.
Question for you. Does shape, like with time and age, is shape something that we've noticed changes a lot too? Like, will he be able to keep that shape when he's 32, 33?
It definitely can. But the one thing that also can kill shape is having any kind of major arm surgery. That's something that can really destroy your shape. So that is why, and again, like, Joe Ryan is also a big risk, because Joe Ryan, with his team-friendly deal, he might cost in the Crochet range, probably a little bit less, and he's not anywhere close to where Crochet is. Like, Joe Ryan is more to me in that next tier of pitchers, that Max Fried tier of pitchers, where it's like you could be one of the best 2s in the whole league.
Yes.
If you're starting game 2 of my playoff series, I am fucking over the moon thrilled. But if you're starting game 1, I'm not as confident you can go up against a Yamamoto or a Blake Snell or a Zach Wheeler. I mean, we'll see. Pressure for Zach Wheeler, but
Joe Ryan also only threw like 6 more innings than Clay Holmes this year, which is not that encouraging either. He does not go very deep into games, it seems like.
No, because he does have trouble sustaining the velocity.
which is
Joe
scary.
Ryan will have his times when he sits 94, 95, and you're like, this is the best pitcher in the league. But then all of a sudden he starts throwing 92. This happened to him in 2024, where his velocity jumped up in a serious way, first time in his career. He was a 92 guy the last few years. 2024, he was a 94 and a half guy. And they were like, oh my gosh. But then Joe Ryan felt something in his shoulder. He missed the last month of the season. And that kind of ruined what looked like it was a great breakout season. Because Joe Ryan, when he's on the mound, I do think he's one of the 15 best pitchers in the league. But then you worry about the extent. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things that we're worrying about, but it's just, again, to continue to frame this conversation in who is the ace? Where is the ace? Is there an actual ace available? Because I think Mets fans are obsessed with the crochet thing from last year. That is not going to happen again.
We also told you last year that we had no chance. Once we saw the return, we're like,
but we were trying, yeah.
We tried. We didn't have that, guys. Like, as much as you want to pretend like the prospects today were like this last year, they were not. They wasn't even close. Mets did not have that package.
No, at this time last year, you could have offered Sproat, Tong, and Jet Williams, and the Red Sox still would have had you beat.
Yes, it wouldn't have been close still.
Yeah, because bench wasn't really. I mean, you also probably would have had to include bench because the Red Sox kind of included their bench in Braden Montgomery, who was their most recent first-round pick, tools out outfielder. Didn't perform as well as bench this year in the minors.
Probably had more helium at that point than Carson Bench did.
Lather tools, even though there wasn't as much production, because he didn't have a chance to have production yet. But even then, you would have probably had to throw those four guys to get Garrett Crochet. Maybe that actually would have been worth it, but that still would have felt crazy. Same thing with the Jesus Luzardo trade that gets called up all the time because
that one is the one that I think people are allowed to have beef with. Because I know how Starlin Caba is viewed, but Starlin Caba sucks and is never been good for a second.
100%. But we've talked a lot about how Starlin Caba is viewed because I think that is how he. I think these major league front offices, if you don't have a shortstop in your system that you trust, you just have to get one. You know what I mean? So I think when you see Starlin Caba,
hate prospect talk people.
Well, this is how it's a thing. It's important to understand how these front offices are thinking in times like this, especially because when you look at Luzardo heading into last season,
yes, that part's different. Yes.
You never would have considered him nearly a frontline pitcher, let alone even a sure thing in the middle of your rotation. And I think, again, a team like the Marlins was like, we don't have a shortstop as far as the eye can see. We're not even close to having any shortstop in this organization that we think could be a shortstop. They spent 5 years accumulating second basemen. So they're like, give us a shortstop that can guaranteed be like near gold glove caliber defense. If we get a 700 OPS, we think we smash this trade. I think that's the thinking. So
that was the thinking. The problem is that Starlin Caba has never even come close to that really in the minors for a sustained period of time. And then this year in the 50 games he played, he had a 613 OPS. He was horrible.
No, if Starlin Caba was on our softball team, he hit like fifth.
Yeah.
Just to give a sense. But then also at the same time, for the Mets to have matched that price, and we've heard this a little bit kind of squeak out over the year, you probably would have had to trade Jet Williams for Jesus Luzardo. Where at the time, if you would have traded someone who was considered the best prospect, one of the three best prospects in your system heading into the year for a pitcher who'd never really been consistently good ever, one really good year and a couple other times where it was really good with inconsistency with health concerns, people would have been freaking out, screaming about how bad a trade that was. But again, all this is different in hindsight, but that probably is more like the kind of move the Mets have to make this offseason. Maybe someone below this Joe Ryan, Pablo Lopez tier. Sandy Alcantara stands out, but I still don't know if he's an ace either. I think he's another guy who I really love as a 2 in the way he is now, and I trust him a lot moving forward, and he has the velocity where I think that I'd much rather have 36-year-old Sandy Alcantara than 36-year-old Ranger Suarez.
I agree. I think Sandy is an ace. I don't know. I know he doesn't get the strikeout numbers of an ace, but the stuff is good, so I feel like that could just be a slight tweak here or there, but maybe that also doesn't work for Sandy.
But let's also say this, like the slight tweak to not getting a strikeout guy, is that an ace? That's a regular season ace with the sample that you'll get over 162. But mostly because we've never really seen him have big playoff innings because the Marlins are terrible.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I guess his stuff doesn't get whiffs. Like nothing really gets whiffs. The slider did a few years ago. The slider did not this year.
When he was at his best, but the arm surgery was serious, and we saw him have a long recovery process this year. Get back to what was close to himself by the end of the year, still without the strikeouts. And I think that Sandy Alcantara is a regular season ace. But I do not know. Okay. I do not know if this version of Sandy is a postseason ace.
I think right now we just need a regular season ace.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but that's also where we're trying to frame this conversation, have this distinction for you guys about who is considered an ace. What is an ace? Like
briefly interrupting our dense ace pitcher talk to bring you guys a little bit of a segment from DraftKings here. Of course, we can't really do a player spotlight because the Mets are out of it and we don't really get to player spotlight anybody, but there is still playoff baseball going on. And of course, if you want to get in on the action, DraftKings Sportsbook is the best place to do it. We've got the Tigers and the Mariners, though, playing on Friday. That's the game that everybody's going to be watching. All eyes on that. Tarek Skubal on the mound. Anything in particular you're looking at, James?
I would just be ready to bet anything for Tarek Skubal right now. I think whatever outs they give him over, they're probably going to be looking like 17 and a half, no, 18 and a half, 19 and a half.
I'm actually interested to see where his line would be just because it is a winner-take-all game. And as much as I think Skubal is going to shove, you do have the fear of if he ever gets in any sort of trouble towards that end of the 5th, 6th inning, they probably are going to yank him.
Totally, but there's also a funny thing where the Mariners have seen him, so you think that gives him the advantage. But I feel like an ace pitcher like Skubal, he can kind of figure out the ways, because you only really got burned by Jorge Polanco last time. If you tell Tarek Skubal, all you got to do is get out Jorge Polanco, and you can go to the ALCS. I feel like he's going to find a way to bulldog his way through that.
Yeah, Skubal, I definitely like a lot of the Skubal lines like you mentioned, and you know what? Jorge Polanco home run, too. Give me the Jorge
Run it
Polanco.
back.
He's got 2 off of him. The guy's feeling hot. The Mariners are swinging the bats well. Series has been going weird, but I'm all over the Mariners, even though I think Skubal is going to shove. I think the Mariners are going to end up winning that game.
I mean, I honestly have no idea, but I am excited to watch it.
That was our DraftKings segment. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Because the rest of the names on the free agent list, we're just going to run through them real quickly.
Yeah.
I have no interest in Shane Bieber. I don't want him. I have no interest in Shane Bieber. Zach Gallen is cooked. Until he's not cooked, I don't trust him.
I think Zach Gallen's fine as a mid-rotation guy, but he's someone who I would like on the tier below the Cease deal. You can give me Zach Gallen for a 2-year deal, 1 year plus an option at $40 million.
Yes,
I think I would take that
I'd
for
be
sure.
in. But yeah. I think people who are bringing up Zach Gallen's name right now think that he's the guy who was finishing in the top 5 of Cy Young voting a few years ago. He's not even close.
No.
Jack Flaherty, you guys know our opinions on him, and you've seen him in the postseason now. Still turbo. Lucas Giolito, James.
Not. I mean, again, as a 3 for 1 year, $22 million, I think that's fine. But you can't consider these guys aces.
Shota, how do you say his last name?
Imanaga.
There he is. That a boy.
See, I wrote the notes.
I do, yeah. Managa. I think that the Cubs probably still pick up that option, even though they're the cheapest team in baseball. But
yeah, the Cubs are broke boys. But Shota has a crazy option. It's a 3-year, $57 million option. So the Cubs right now, if they pick it up, he makes $20 million next year, $20 million the year after that, and then $17 million in 2028. If the club declines that, Shota still has a $15 million player option for this season. And also Bieber has a $16 million player option. And there's a lot.
I think Bieber's going to opt out. He got like $20 million without throwing a pitch. He's going to do that again.
I think so too. But if he only has the start on film from yesterday,
where he looked horrendous,
I'm saying. But the Yankees do own Shane Bieber. He still's got that American League Central stank on him. But it's not good. Then you keep going past that. Merrill Kelly, that's a 3. Brandon Woodruff
4
has a $20 million mutual option with a $10 million buyout if that's not taken. But he's someone who, while he was really good this year, looked like he recovered well, the velocity used to make him great was gone. And he gets
hurt all the time.
Yeah, he got by. He's not even here for the Brewers right now, but he got by in like fastball manipulation and great command. That's good. People are talking about Freddie Peralta. He has an $8 million club option. He's not going anywhere unless you trade a ton for him. And then the last name available, who I think is also, I wanted to mention Jack Flaherty has a crazy option last year. Remember when Mets fans were getting on David Stearns for not signing Jack Flaherty?
I do, because it was brain dead.
For this coming season, he has a $20 million player option that becomes $30 million if he makes 15 starts.
Oh,
that's horrific. That might be worse than Frankie Montas at the end of the day.
Jesus.
But then the last guy out there who I think should get a lot of attention, if he actually becomes a free agent, is Michael King on the Padres.
But he's the scary one right now, though, because what we saw at the end of the year was like
turbo dog shit.
Whoo, turbo, like throwing 91. And you're like, yeah. I mean, we saw the Mets who couldn't hit anybody that was any sort of good down the stretch. They made Michael King look like he was like a spot start minor leaguer that came up to help out the Padres for the day. He looked like Johnny Burrito.
Because again, King is a command first pitcher. That's why it always pisses me off when Yankee people are like, "Well, Warren, next Michael King, look at the stuff." The stuff is not what makes Michael King good. The stuff is great, but Michael King, when he's on, like he can hit a penny in the strike zone. Any pitch in his repertoire can hit it from any side of the plate.
With a pitch that starts off behind your back and then hits the penny on the inside corner.
He does that front hip sinker against the lefties that we talk all the time about, where it looks like it's coming literally straight for your ass, and all of a sudden he pings that corner. He's going to be a menace with the ABS strike zone if he actually is healthy. But he even has a $15 million mutual option where the Padres will have to pay him a $4 million buyout. So I'm assuming that gets picked up. I mean, I don't know how mutual options are. Those are very vague things.
Yeah.
If I'm sure he doesn't want that, but like if there's a mutual kicker in there, I really don't know. But he's another one where you probably don't have to give a long-term deal. And I think that's where the crux of this free agent starting pitcher market leaves me. I'd be pretty happy with any of these guys for 2-ish years.
Yeah, 3 if you had to put in a third year to get it done. But then the AAV's got to come down a tiny bit.
Yeah, but I don't think any of these guys are even worth a 5-year deal. Like looking at Max Fried's contract now, seeing that he got 7 or 8 for $27 million per.
Now. Yeah.
It's like, but again, like that. Max Fried to me is the line where like you want to be better than Max Fried to be considered an ace, but he's a tremendous pitcher.
Yeah, and the other thing too with Max Fried to consider too is lefty. Lefty's always the weird kicker with starting pitchers. Those guys just exist forever.
Ranger Suarez,
that might be the weird kicker with him. He's a lefty.
I mean, Shota is too, but
Framber is too, but I got so turned off by him what he did at the end of the season last year with that shit. That was so weird.
I mean, but maybe that's the exact fucking discount that we need to actually get a dominant pitcher.
The problem is I don't think he's gonna get discounted. I think every team in baseball knows how good Framber Valdez is.
And I think a guy like Framber, 31 years old, wasn't a big prospect, has his chance for a payday. You take your chance for a payday.
It's one of the few times a Latino player does hit the free agent market like that.
Yeah, literally few. But this was a good exercise to show it's not easy to find an ace. And I don't think it's the end of the world for the Mets to walk into next season without an ace.
You know who I want?
Who?
Jacob deGrom. Bring him in.
I mean, I'm with you. Like, is there a world where we can pay down a bunch of Nimmo's contract and get deGrom and pay the whole thing?
Well, is there any pitcher with a horrible contract on a team, but that is still very good, but the team's not very good, where we could trade them Brandon Nimmo?
Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, is that it? Is that the only guy?
I mean, let's think. What even team would want to take on money? Because there's like 4 in the whole league.
Yeah, that is true. That is one of the big problems is the money aspect of this.
Like the Red Sox would take on money. They don't need the corner outfielder.
Brandon Nimmo to the Pirates.
Yeah, we have to pay all of the contract.
No.
We'd still get Mitch Keller, have to pay his entire contract.
And Mitch Keller also is not good.
When we just talk about all these free agent starting pitchers, how many of them are you 100% confident will be better than Manaea next year?
How many am I confident in?
Yeah.
Okay. I am confident in Dylan Cease being better than Manaea.
Yeah.
I'm confident in Michael King being better. I'm confident in Ranger Suarez. I'm confident in Shota if he were to hit it. I'm confident in Framber. That's 5. Yeah. The others I think are pretty much a coin flip. Like Shane Bieber probably will be better.
Yeah.
But it's hard after we saw what just happened last night in that Blue Jays-Yankees game. Jack Flaherty, I'll never trust, and I don't want him. Lucas Giolito, nice guy, don't want him. Definitely don't want Merrill Kelly because he's just more of what we have already, and I'd rather just give it to the young guys at that point. Brandon Woodruff injuries. Zach Allen's the weird one. He's the weird one where I could see him being better than Manaea, but the fastball looked so bad, so bad that I'm concerned, but maybe that's just a change of scenery guy. Who knows?
Definitely. And then I just want to throw 2 other trade names out there who I still like a lot, both of these guys. Edward Cabrera. The Marlins are trading Sandy. You might as well trade Cabrera. He only has a few more years left of control. I think he... What?
I'm surprised you didn't throw out Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah, but Mackenzie Gore is much more of a project network Cabrera, which is funny to say compared to where these guys each were last May, but that's how quickly some of these things
is or isn't. Mackenzie Gore could just be throwing the fastball up in the zone. Yeah. He might just become one of the best pitchers in baseball.
It might take 10 minutes with Mackenzie Gore, but again, maybe he's one of them. I just don't know if the Nationals actually trade him. I think they just ride that out.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to modernize quickly, and I think that he's going to be someone that they know. If you're trading him now, you're not getting what he's worth. But Cabrera, he fits a lot of this stuff. He has a lot of pitches. He throws so fucking hard. Like he's someone where I think that he might, 4 years from now, he might be the best pitcher in this entire list.
Okay.
I think that's possible.
I'm not going to argue with you, but I'll hear it out.
Of the free agent list.
Yeah, I think I'll still take my chances on Cease and Framber.
Yes, I mean, I think it's fair to even put those guys in the same tier in terms of all these pitchers that we've mentioned. But I still think that Ryan and Pablo are the best pitchers, but past 3 years, so it's going to be interesting. Sandy's awesome, but I think he's going to cost a ton. And then I do wonder if the Mariners shed anything.
I was
don't know.
thinking about it. Why would they? I always go back to why. Why would you do it? You don't need to.
Good reason. Great point. Sensational point.
Thank you, everybody.
I mean, it's like it always gets talked about. So the fact that it does get talked about is something like their payroll this year is still only $150 million.
Like, what? Where are they? Oh no, we saved $7 million. I don't like the Mariners. I feel like they've been cheap, but also like it's just hard to get guys in Seattle. So that's also why they lose out on free agency a lot of times. It's just nobody really wants to play out there.
Yeah, and the Mariners right now are kind of in a soft spot with their player development where they had a lot of these pitchers come up quickly and they were all nasty. They probably don't have that next group of guys ready yet. So while Logan Gilbert and George Kirby are due for huge raises over the next 2 seasons, as Gilbert gets close to free agency, he's going to be, where's Gilbert on here? So this year's going to be
2 years, right?
Yeah, he's a Super 2 guy. So this is going to be his 3rd year of arbitration. Next will be his 4th year of arbitration. But this is going to be Kirby's 2nd year, 3rd year, and Kirby will have 4 years of arbitration as well. So a team like the Mariners that stood just below the luxury tax this year. Oh no, actually way below luxury tax.
Yeah, way
That's
below.
disgusting. Oh my God.
No, the Mariners are awesome.
There's 60 million clear the luxury tax. That's crazy.
Close.
But again, they can take those raises, but I do wonder if they will. I don't know. Those names get thrown out too much for how good the pitchers they are and how much money that team should have. So it's just worth mentioning. And then the last guy who will get traded, I think he's very divisive. I think he could be a good middle rotation guy, is Sonny Gray. Yeah. I think he's better than anything that we have besides McLean right now, truthfully.
I don't know. Sonny Gray stunk this year, dude.
He stunk in terms of ERA, but he still has all the same strikeout walk numbers that we love.
Yeah, and he's going to be a year older. I don't know.
I'm not saying, but again, he's not an ace.
Also, Sonny Gray, I know the Mets are not the Yankees, but the last time he pitched in New York, he was like clinically depressed. I don't want him here.
Yeah,
I think he has a no trade. Boy. I think he has a no trade clause in his contract too, and I think it is pretty much explicitly so he never comes back to New York.
I think so too, but I think the Yankees are different than the Mets, and I think the Yankee Stadium's a lot different city.
He throws 91.
No, he'll be a Brave probably next year.
Yeah, he's
or like a Ranger or something. But
Braves
yeah, I
would love to bring his old ass in.
Just trying to make an exhaustive list of the guys that are going to be at least relatively available for the Mets this offseason. And
real quick, I'm just running through other teams. Yeah, Mitch Keller's going to be available, but I don't want him.
It's like, yeah, he's, again, Mitch Keller. Sproat and Mitch Keller next year.
Yeah, who cares? I'd rather take Sproat.
Yeah.
That's the National League because nobody out west is going to get moved on those teams. You go to the American League, the Orioles have nobody that you'd be interested in. The Rays do, but they're not going to move them probably.
I don't think so.
Everybody else in that division's good. The Central stinks. You don't really want anybody except the pitchers on the Twins, weirdly. Yeah. Would you take a flyer on Bailey Ober? This has nothing to do with the conversation of ace, just as might be a cheap guy.
I would definitely take a flyer on Bailey Ober. Coming into this season, if you took a 3-year sample, 2022, 2023, 2024, Bailey Ober at the 5th lowest whip in baseball.
I know. Yeah, he just really stunk it up this year.
He had a hip thing, and that pushed down his fastball velocity. At the same time, he kind of lost his changeup, and Bailey Ober doesn't have a great repertoire. He doesn't have a good fastball. So going from 92 to 90.5, bad. That changeup going from a 40% whiff to a 30% whiff. He didn't really have a slider or anything else to kind of get over that hump.
Angels have nobody.
Nope. And they're not training. I mean, Angels are competing. They're ready to go.
They're always ready to
go.
A's got rid of their one guy that I was interested in. That's pretty much it. Yeah, not a lot.
So with this, then comes back to you again. This is how we'll leave you guys. Right now, under contract for next season, the Mets have Nolan McLean, Brandon Sproat,
there's the
Clay
ace.
Holmes, Sean Manaea, and David Peterson.
What if Nolan McLean's just the ace?
No, again, I think he actually is. Maybe that's how we should end this. He's better than all of these pitchers that we've mentioned.
Feels like it. I feel more confident with him than any of the guys outside of maybe like Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Sandy.
Yeah, the free agent guys. Not
free agent guys. I feel better with Nolan McLean than anybody else.
100%.
Probably Framber. But
yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, I feel better with Framber.
Another quick break here from this great episode talking about the Mets' need for an ace to talk about our friends over from Lids. Lids, always the go-to for all things MLB hats, jerseys, and apparel. Lids can now be your go-to for all things top trading cards, including Bowman Chrome, which are available now.
Yeah, Bowman Chrome. If you're chasing the next best prospect, you got to be all over Bowman Chrome. I'm a card guy myself, so I'll be ripping some packs, going to Lids, get my packs, because it's just impossible to find these sometimes. And also, check out these fresh hats we got. James, is this the first Mets fitted hat you've ever owned?
The first one's ever fit me well.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, it looks good on you. It looks good on me, too. I've got a few of them. Always been shopping from Lids, obviously. Best deals. Get your officially licensed MLB hats. Shout out the Mets. Love the colors here.
And again, whether or not you want to be ripping packs, getting hats, getting jerseys, make sure you text Territory, TERRITORY, to 29017 to receive 20% off your next purchase of any headwear or apparel at any U.S. Lid store. Some exclusions do apply. Can I call my shot on a reliever I think could become a good starter this offseason?
Do it. Take a shot.
This is our boy, Hunter Harvey.
Oh, Hunter Harvey, really? Whoa.
He had a half a season from hell. He got injured second half of last year, right when he got traded to the Royals, and this year he kind of spent the whole season fighting back. But a guy like Hunter Harvey was always sitting at that same Clay Holmes range of like 60-ish innings a year in the bullpen, so you kind of think he can stand up to a full season. I think he just turned 30, so I think he's like 31 now. Still sits 98, just turned 30. That still sits over 96, gets up to 98, 99, and he's got the splitter and the curveball and the slider. I think that, and he came back at the end of the season and was completely fucking disgusting. He's going to be a free agent option. I think it'd be a fun conversation to see if we can get Hunter Harvey, if he can still just sit 94 with that fastball over the 5 innings, just do Clay Holmes part 2.
It is kind of funny even looking at qualified pitchers ERA wise. Like there's like 15 guys with an ace ERA even a year. So
Definitely. And then how many of those guys do you trust game 1 of the playoffs?
Almost none of them on this list. You want to just hear the names real quick?
Yeah.
Paul Skeens.
Definitely trust him. Well, should we talk about Skeens for a second? Because I think people are going to talk about the Mets trading for Paul Skeens. There is a 0.0% chance that Paul Skeens is traded this year or next year. 2 years from now, you'll get Paul Skeens trade conversations.
Yeah, whenever he starts getting paid. He's free right now.
Yes.
Why in the world would the Pirates ever trade him right now? That's the only reason. Again, Nutting? Bob Nutting, right? He's the Pirates owner. He's cheap, but he's like, Paul Skeens is the only way I make any money every single season. We're not getting rid of the guy who makes me any amount of money.
And again, like, because Livy Dunn posts pictures in New York all the time. Like, Paul Skeens was in New York taking a ferry ride.
Model. She's going to be in New York City every chance she gets.
And, Pittsburgh to New York, really easy on a plane.
Quick hour. It's like,
nothing.
She's making more than Paul Skeens right now. She could pay for the flights. It's fine.
By a lot, she's making more than Paul Skeens. But again, we're looking at, like, if anyone brings that up, they're not serious. Don't even take that into consideration.
Until we do it this offseason because it's free views.
Yeah, until we put it on a thumbnail and we just tell you guys no, but here's why.
Yes. If in a fantasy world, here's how we get Paul Skeens, and it's you don't.
Yeah, but again, like, these guys this year, so you're just not
it stinks. You want to know why? Because the Dodgers got all the good fun guys.
It was screaming for Blake Snell last year. I know it was never realistic, but that was the guy. And
now
we'll think about Yamamoto forever. Well, that's a sliding doors moment. He was probably never that serious about coming here. We gave it like the greatest shot we could have done.
They tried.
Oh, they tried really hard. I think they were in there until the very last moment. There's a reason that all of these teams were so invested in him until, again, the very last moment. Because he's so fucking good. He's an ace.
Is he top 5 or top 10?
To me, he's top 10 more than top 5. I'll still take easily Skubal, Skeens, Crochet, Gilbert over him. Not even think about those 4.
Ooh, Gilbert over him. Interesting.
I love Gilbert. Yeah, maybe not Gilbert over him. Maybe that's me being too fancy basebast brain because Yamamoto's in a 6-day schedule, so I know he's pitching 20 fewer innings.
That might be
Gilbert.
A little fantasy brain on you.
Yeah, if they're both healthy. But I think that maybe Yamamoto is top 5 because he's that
so good.
I might take Snell. I love Snell.
Okay.
And Woo's sick. I know this new version of Christopher Sanchez is unbelievable.
He's also sick, yeah.
It's ridiculously good. Like there's a lot of pitchers at the top of this league, but then there's become such a huge middle class so quickly that at the end of this, still think that's when the Mets are best served shopping.
I think we know what one of our videos on the windup is going to be. We're going to do an aces tier list. We're going to rank all the pitchers, put them on an ace tier list.
Perfect.
That'll be some fun. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you are subscribed to the Mets'd podcast on YouTube. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a rating, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Draft Nick Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. We will catch you all on the next episode. Peace out, guys.
Let's go, Mets.